Hi everyone, I'm Spicy Jan. I hope you've been having an amazing morning. What an action-packed, thoughtful, educated, thought-provoking, learning kind of morning. And you know what? It's all about you. Thank you so much to the Soroptimist International of Grand Erie for inviting me, Spicy Jan, hi, into my kitchen. Do you know, I've been working with in the gourmet food space with food for the last 12 years, helping people really recognize how food builds community, how important food is, and how simple food can be, because sometimes we overcomplicate it. So you're here in my kitchen. It is a beautiful afternoon. It's lunchtime. And what I wanted to do is bring this video to you so you can take your time preparing your lunch. I don't want you to feel stressed at all. I'm not going to feel rushed. And then that way you can enjoy your lunch when the next speaker comes on. But I'm going to join in with you as well to say hi and see if you have any questions. But this video I'm preparing just for you. And do you know, whether you're a picky eater or a texture eater, whether you like absolutely everything, or perhaps you've not tried a lot of different foods, eating salads in a jar is a really great way to try some new flavors. Try a layered salad, because salads are so good for us, and it supports local produce. So let's go on. I'm going to, just so that I'm safe in my kitchen with some cutting, and I want you to be safe in your kitchen as well as you're preparing your products for your lunch. So I'm actually going to take my face off the screen. You're going to hear me because I've got my earbuds in. Gosh, I love these earbuds. I'm going to have them in so that you're going to hear what I'm saying and you're going to see what I'm doing. And that way I'll be safe and you'll be safe. So take your time. So I'm going to just put you down here in my kitchen. And you've got a really great view of what is on my counter. Just going to adjust this just a little bit further so you have a good view. Perfect. So you did receive a list of what to put together. Oh, looks like you're crooked. What to put together or what to have to make your lunch today. And I'm going to show you what I have. Now you had some options from the different areas. I've actually got some orange peppers that I haven't chopped up fully yet. I've got some cucumbers that need to be chopped as well. I have some cherry tomatoes, and I actually really like cherry tomatoes. Everything's already been washed. I like cherry tomatoes because in a salad in a jar, they're really great. They don't get mushy, and then as you eat them, you only need a couple in your salad. I have here some sour cream because we're going to make a dressing. I have a little bit of cauliflower. Everything is uncooked. And these that I have here are sun-dried tomatoes. Sun-dried tomatoes have a really interesting taste. They're actually tomatoes that have been dried in the Mediterranean sun, and they have a really sweet flavor to them. So I'm going to chop a few and put them into the salads that are going to be eaten in my home. Now, of course, you'll all have something a little bit different. You can see here, I have a lime. I love the flavor of fresh squeezed lime. I've chopped that up as well. I've got my cutting board. I have a little bit of feta cheese. I like feta. I like the saltiness of feta because I don't typically put a lot of salt on my food. And then over here, I've got just some tossed greens. Over here, I've got some black beans. On your list, I think it said black beans or chickpeas. So you've got some black beans there as well that I'm going to season. Some chopped cheddar cheese. And then I have some of my favorite seasonings. And I kept the can for the black beans because I wanted to show you. If you're ever going to the grocery store yourself, if you go to a No Frills or a Loblaws brand, the yellow label, the no-name label, is 99 cents. So these are really great protein and super easy to do in a salad in a jar. So the whole concept about a salad in a jar is exactly what you think. It's about jars and then building layers of a salad. A lot of times when people are going, so I'm going to talk and I'm going to start chopping. So you do the same thing too. I'm going to chop up my vegetables here that I have in the center. But actually first, I think what I'll do is I'll let our dressing sit. So what I have here, I'm going to tell you my story in a second. I have a measuring cup, so this is a 2-cup measuring cup. When you make your own oil and vinegar dressing, it is always the exact same recipe to make a really good oil and vinegar dressing. So what I'm going to do is it's a 1/4 cup. So I'm just doing for a small amount. So a 1/4 cup of olive oil. So the olive oil will be the largest amount. So I'm doing a 1/4 cup, and this is a basil flavored olive oil. I really love flavored olive oils. They really sort of turn up the volume of the flavor in your food. So we're almost at a 1/4 cup there. We are 1/4 cup. So it's a 1/4 cup. And then what you're going to do is put on an eighth of a cup of vinegar. So the ratio is, 2 parts oil, 1 part vinegar. So if you're doing a 1/4 cup of oil, you're going to do an 1/8 of a cup of vinegar. If you were to do a 1/2 cup of oil, you would do a 1/4 cup of vinegar. And I just am using a balsamic vinegar. So I've got my 2 parts oil, my 1 part vinegar, and then I don't know if you love Asian flavors, but sesame oil is a really nice thing just to put a dash in. It's going to turn up the flavor profile with those beautiful sesame into our oil and vinegar. So we're going to let that sit. But in my opinion, to make a really beautiful oil and vinegar, you don't just stop there. You put something in that you really love. It might be some fresh garlic. It might be some green onions. I've got some of my favorite seasonings. So if someone in your house likes seasonings and you have a favorite one, pop them in. So this is a garlic and herb. This one here is a Mediterranean Greek. So I'm going to put a bit of these 2 in and just let them sit. I didn't measure it. It's probably about a 1/4 teaspoon. I'm going to let that sit. And as you can see, that's not complicated. I just made an oil and vinegar dressing, and I want you to do the same thing. And then what I'm going to do is I have a little bit, well, it's not a little bit, it's a tub of 1% sour cream. You use whatever volume you like for yourself. I'm going to use my spoon here, and then I'm going to flavor up this sour cream. When things are bland, our palate gets used to bland flavors. So if you can introduce a little bit of flavor, I'm not talking about heat, but flavor, it really helps you discover some different foods that you might sort of step outside of the box. And a lot of times when you like different flavors of food, that's when cultural interest comes together. So this is a Southwest seasoning. So that means it's got a little bit of some chipotle, a little bit of paprika, usually a smoky in there. So it's a beautiful flavor. Just going to mix it up. I think I need a little bit of our garlic. A couple shakes. My rule of thumb is usually 5 shakes is about a 1/4 teaspoon. So what we've done is I've just made almost like a ranch dressing and an oil and vinegar dressing. So we have our 2 dressings ready. Now I'm going to chop the vegetables, and we'll talk about the concept of the salad in a jar. So I want you to start chopping your vegetables as well. So what I'm going to do here, everything is washed, but with a cucumber, you might like to take the skin off. You might leave the skin on. So I'm going to leave the skin on because in my household, that's how we eat them. And I'm just going to cut them down into bite-sized pieces. The whole concept of the salad in the jar, so I'll talk and you work away on cutting up whatever vegetables you have decided to have in your salad. The whole concept is a lot of times we go out to different restaurants. There might be something sometimes it's called a Buddha bowl. Sometimes it's called a layered bowl. And, they're fairly expensive. But, what happens is we love those flavors that are together. So I usually say, make your own, because that way you don't have to order with different things not in it. You can build a salad in a jar exactly how you want it to be. So I've chopped up my cucumbers. You can see this doesn't take long at all. I am just going to chop up my cauliflower. Now, cauliflower right now is a little bit expensive. It is, some stores have it on sale. I bought some for $2.99 a head of cauliflower, but actually I'm not going to put that in because that's more of the core, a little bit tougher. That goes over in my garbage. I just want the tops, because they're nice and tender, but crunchy. They have a really nice flavor, and actually they're so great with some dip. If you need to snack, there's another just core only. Get rid of that. If you want to snack while you're eating, it's okay. So what we're going to do is once everything is chopped, we're going to layer these into the jars. Now I've got some 500 ml jars here, which is 2 cups as well. I have some 250 ml jars, which is 1 cup. And depending on how much you like to eat in one sitting, now it doesn't mean you have to fill this to the top, but you'll see it fills up fairly quickly, and it would just be like a large bowl of a large salad bowl. So my rule is usually, I don't typically, I'm going to cut up my peppers now. And again, you cut them up to the size that you want to eat them. If you like a larger size or a bite size, you cut them up as you want to. Just be safe with your chopping. I know that you're probably very comfortable in your own home chopping, and I don't want you to have to worry about watching me. Just listen and keep chopping. My whole concept, as I was going to say, around salads in a jar is that I typically don't ever make just one. I usually make a few ahead at a time. And that's because, so usually, well, right here I have 5. Usually someone else in the home or myself, if I have a busy day the next day or the next couple of days and I want to make a few salads ahead, I can. But I often like to share salads. So I figure if I can share one of these with a friend in need or someone who needs to have lunch, or maybe a senior that I know in my neighborhood that doesn't get out very much to have fresh produce and would really like something like this, it's a really thoughtful, if it's a safe scenario that they're in your social circle, it's a really thoughtful way to offer lunch to someone else in need. And as well, Sunday, when I was making salads in a jar for my work schedule, which has changed, of course, because of COVID, I'm picking this up because I don't have a lot of room left on my cutting board, but I'm comfortable cutting this way out of experience. So you do it your way to be safe in the kitchen. What I used to do when I was going to the office is I would make these. So if you wanted to do them for school lunches, I would make them up on Sundays. And then I would usually have one every day, either for lunch or for dinner. Until Thursday. I say they usually keep for about 4 days. 4 days is a good marker. If someone's cooking some hamburg in your home, a little bit of, if you like Mexican flavors, you could make a nacho or a taco bowl as well. I'm going to chop up these sun-dried tomatoes. They are dried, and with the moisture of our salad dressing, they're going to expand. And oh my gosh, I'm salivating just thinking about it. The flavors are fantastic. They're very different. Tomatoes are great, but a dried tomato just brings out almost the sweetness in the tomato. Really nice in a salad, really nice in some spaghetti sauce if you're making sauce. I'm sure you love making spaghetti sauce because I've been making some really fun spaghetti sauce. It doesn't even have tomatoes in it at all, but we'll save that for another day. So we have everything all chopped up. What I'm going to do with my lime is just cut it one more time because we're just going to squeeze the lime. The lime's not going to go in it. Then I'm going to cut my knife through it just to get the juices flowing. Cut my knife through it to get the juices flowing. Same thing here. Lime just really enhances the flavor. Again, I don't like a ton of salt in my food, but I don't mind the flavor of feta, which has a little bit of a salty taste to it. So I'm going to get my knife out of the way just because I don't need it anymore. And are you ready? Did you chop up some vegetables? Whether you're making one jar for now for lunch or you're making a few, I'm going to start building them so you can see what this looks like. What I want you to remember is heavy and moist go on the bottom. If you start putting heavy and moist on the top, it's going to make all of it soggy. So I'm going to start with a little bit of the sour cream. Okay, you can watch if you want, and then you can build one. And what I'm going to do is that's going to go on my bottom, and that's going to be on my dressing, so that when it's time to eat it, I'll turn it upside down. The dressing will go to the top, and it will coat all of it. You can eat it with a fork right out of the jar, or you can put it into a bowl. So I've got my sour cream on the bottom. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few of my sun-dried tomatoes, because they're going to moisten up in the moistness of the sour cream. I have some of these gorgeous orange peppers. I have some cucumbers, a little bit of cauliflower. Everything is washed. A little bit of cauliflower. Look already, it's halfway full. You can see that. Then I'm going to put in my black beans. The black beans are your protein if you're a vegetarian, or if you just don't prefer to eat meat at lunchtime. This is a great way to just put a little bit of the black beans in here. Oh, sorry, I lost the word. We're going to put in a couple cherry tomatoes, not a ton. So we've got 3. And I think on this one, because I already have the white of the sour cream, I'm going to put in a couple of cubes of cheddar. Now these are being eaten in my home, so I'm using my hands. If you are sharing with somebody else, you would want to use a fork or use something else that's a little bit tidier. Then I'm going to put one more dollop here, just one. And then I'm going to take a nice handful of my lettuce. I'm going to shove my lettuce right on top. And look, voila, in 1 minute, we just made a salad in a jar. Are you ready? Look. Oh my gosh, that looks fantastic. Now, if you're ready to just dive in and start eating. I'm going to work away here making a couple more salads in a jar so that you can get the idea. And while you're making yours, you can start to eat if you want. So there's our salad dressing. I'm actually going to put the salad dressing in a second one. So I'm going to make 2 at a time on this one. And as well in this dressing, I'm going to put in some lime. Then over here, put in some lime. Squeeze the lime, just enhance that oil and vinegar flavor. Then what I'm going to do is start putting in my vegetables. So there's no sort of method to my madness. I'll just fill them up. Make sure I've got lots in all of them. Put in some of the sun-dried tomatoes you can see. Got some of my beautiful English cucumbers. Now this is an oil and vinegar jar. Put in 3, I just like 3 of my cherry tomatoes. So this one, when you shake it up and you start to serve it, it's going to be a little bit more juicy, wet, because it's got the nice oil and vinegar. But you do, while you're storing it, you want to keep it at the bottom. So these are marinating in it, but you don't want these to get soggy in it. So we're not going to flip it around too much. I'm going to put in our black beans. Got 2 tablespoons of the black beans. And what I'm going to do is come to the feta. As I said, I like the feta cheese. It's a little bit salty. It's got beautiful flavors for Mediterranean food. And because we've got the oil and vinegar, I think it's very fitting. This one looks like it doesn't have as much as this one. So I'm just going to put a little bit more cauliflower in here. And then, oh my gosh, I'm just salivating. I've got some of my Mediterranean dressing. So I'm just going to put that in because it'll really go nice with the feta cheese. And then what I'm going to do is pop in a pinch of my greens, not too much because this one will be more of a chunky salad. And then voila, we are done. Can you even believe, oh, that's the wrong lid. Can you even believe how simple this was? Now these are great jars. These are jars that I have had for a while when I used to buy salads in a jar. But then I started making my own. But I like these because it's a wide mouth 500 ml jar. Look at that. You see that? What does yours look like? I can't wait to see. And hopefully when I come online with you in a few minutes, I'll be able to see that. So, excuse me. Look how great that is. You can put in chickpeas, couscous, rice, whatever you want, pasta even. You can even do some pasta, and or you could do some Mexican flavors, whatever you want. I've got these small 250 ml jars, so before we finish up, let's use all of this. So I'm going to use sour cream in one, a dollop of that. I'm going to use the rest of my oil and vinegar dressing that we made. Oh my gosh. Just like the smell. Can you smell that? Smell it. Oh my gosh. It's so beautiful with the sesame oil. Oh, if you have sesame oil in the house, make sure you go and grab it. It's amazing. I'm going to pop these in here because we definitely don't want to waste them. But we want to make sure that we get lots of veggies in here. And then it's almost like a veggies and dip at this point. And again, because it's got the wide mouth, it's the same size, you're able to just pop your fork in there. I'm going to use up all of my sun-dried tomatoes. Pop your fork in there and enjoy. Got my lime. I'm going to squeeze my lime right in there. Squeeze. Got one more lime left. I love just, that citrus flavor. Even in the summer, you can just do a little squeeze of lime in your water, hot water, cold water, whatever I like to drink hot water. So I just love putting a little squeeze of lemon or lime in my water. So there's my 250 ml jars. And I'm just going to pop a little bit of some cube cheddar. These ones, remember, already have the dressing on the bottom. One is oil and vinegar. One is the sour cream. I'm not going to put any of the beans in here, and I don't have any room for lettuce. So what I'm going to do is just finish these up. They have everything that they need. Protein from the cheese. We've got a dressing. Now you're going to be so amazed how quickly we just put all this together. Okay? So watch this. I'm going to move this. We just created a whole week full of lunches. You ready? You won't even believe it. It's healthy. It's affordable. It's good for you. It's delicious. You take these to school or to work or to lunch or make it for your family. They are just going to be absolutely wowed at the talent that you have in putting together some healthy meals. So you saw that. Remember, when you're making an oil and vinegar dressing, remember it is 2 parts of the oil. See all the magnets? 2 parts of the oil, 1 part of the vinegar, and then some seasonings. What I also like to put in is a little bit of mustard. Now, this sounds kind of weird, but if you do a little bit of mustard, say 1 tablespoon of mustard, 1 tablespoon of maple syrup or honey, and put that in with your oil and vinegar, it just turns up the flavor profile, a little bit of sweet, and then the sharpness of the mustard together makes a beautiful salad dressing. And let's face it, if you don't want to make a salad dressing and you want to use a salad dressing that you have in your fridge, maybe a Kraft or a Caesar dressing, that's absolutely okay. Today, what I was showing you was how to make some food from scratch. Look at, I can't even believe that we did this together. Yay, you, this is awesome. So remember, I'm going to turn this up a bit so that you can see me and I don't have to hold it and be all jiggly. Remember, when it's time to actually eat these, all you're going to do is take it out of the fridge, make sure that you have a fork. I'm not going to do it now, but you're going to turn it upside down. You're just going to shake it. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you. Ready? Lids on. You're going to go like this. Give it a little shake. Make sure that you're moving all the dressing around. You can see that it has. Back up again. Open and serve. So you know what? There's lunch. Bon appetit. Grab your favorite glass of water or hot water, whatever you like, and you're ready to eat lunch. So I'm going to come on to you live now and answer any questions that you have. And I hope that you've really enjoyed sort of this idea. Now, if you don't have glass jars or you're not allowed to use glass jars, maybe to take to work or in your backpack, you can use Tupperware as well. You can use any plasticware. Just make sure that the lid goes on super tight. So I guess I'm going to be eating soon. So that when it's time to shake it, that you don't have any leakage or spillage into your bag as you're traveling or all over you as you open it up and start getting ready to eat. Oh my gosh, that looks really good. Okay, I'm gonna sign off now. If you're on Instagram, please follow me at Spicy Jan Cooks. It's where I show you some really great places to, some ideas of things that I do in my kitchen. And as well, you can follow me at Tasty Road Trips. Oh, there it is. Tasty Road Trips Food Tours. And I'm Spicy Jan. So I've got a couple of different channels on Instagram. Hope to see you in a minute. Hang on and let me know how your lunch is, okay? I'm always available. Connect in if you want to. And yay, you girls. I'm so proud of you. You did it. High five. Okay, chat with you in a minute.